Still celebrating that Cowboy win. Yeah. That's the victory song for the Cowboys on Thursday. All right. Welcome to the show. NF wrap-up special. Cowboy hat on. Jersey on. Cowboys. All right. We're going to wrap up NFL today. Let's Flo Canteen NFL wrap show. We're going to have Canteen come on a little bit. We're going to open up the phone lines right away. So if you guys want to call in, we can call in. We can talk a little NFL football today. We can also talk, we can also talk a little bit of, hang on, this thing's going to start again. All right. We can also talk a little bit the playoff standings for the college football rankings. The Final Four came out as well. We can talk a little bit of that. Who do you think? Do you agree with the rankings? Do you not agree with the rankings? We can talk about that as well. We're going to talk mainly NFL, but we can talk a little college football if you want to, since those college football rankings came out today. All right. Let me put this up. So I'm going to start running through this. I'm Flo. I'm waiting for my other partner that should be here. Canteen should be here soon. I'm not sure if Les is coming on, but I'm going to put this up. Open up the phone lines right now. If you guys want to call in, 726-999-0241. We're going to do our rundown. Let us know what you think about today's games, how your team did, or just any game that came up today. I was able to watch a couple of games since the Cowboys played on Thursday. So I was able to watch a couple of games, and they were pretty good games. Both games were pretty good. I was able to kind of go back and forth between the Washington football team and the Las Vegas Raiders. And what was the other one? Yes. Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Really good games down to the wire. Down to the wire on those games. All right. So here we go. Call in if you want to call in and talk about today's games. 726-999-0241. And you can talk. Or make a comment, share, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff in the comments. We really appreciate you. Let us know what you think. And if you still have the link, you can jump on live if you want to. I'm all going solo right now, so if somebody wants to jump in that's been on the show before and want to come on live, that's fine. Or you can just call in 726-999-0241. Let's go. All right. So let's see. Let's look at some of these games today. Let's look at the Arizona Cardinals. 33-22 over the Chicago Bears. Chicago scored 22. That's actually pretty good for them, like all things considered. I don't know if that says that's an indictment on the Cardinals defense, or maybe that it was the game got out of hand early and it was just kind of like garbage points. It looks like, let's see, 21-7 at halftime, 24-14. So not necessarily garbage time, but yeah, I could see that. But the Cardinals look pretty good. They looks like Kyler Murray came back. He had a adequate game. He had 123 yards, 2 touchdowns. So he had a decent game. He also ran for another 59 and ran in 2 touchdowns. That's part of that. So he had a decent day as he came back. No interception on that. And now I guess Andy Dalton is starting now for the Chicago Bears. Excuse me. And I don't know if Fields is hurt. Someone let me know. I haven't looked into the Chicago Bears lately in detail. So I don't know if Fields is hurt or they're just trying to protect him. And they say, hey, let's just roll with Andy. But he had 229 yards, 2 touchdowns, but 4 picks. 4 picks for Andy Dalton. But rushing, they had David Montgomery had 90 yards rushing. And so as a team, 112 at Arizona. Had 137 yards rushing. So overall, a good game. I think the Arizona Cardinals, I think they're for real. I mean, you can't deny it anymore. I mean, when they were undefeated at a time, I think a lot of people doubted the Arizona Cardinals. And then they lost the game. And then said, here we go. The Arizona Cardinals are going to start losing games. And then they lost Kyler Murray. But yet they went 2-1. Without their starting quarterback, and I think at least for 1 or 2 of those games without their leading receiver, DeAndre Hopkins, he was also out for at least 1 or 2 of those games. So they went 2-1 in those games with Colt McCoy, who's not a trailblazer. So, yeah. So I don't know. I think Arizona's for real. It looks like they're gonna somewhat run away that division a little bit. The Rams were able to at least win today, but I mean they've got a 2-game, assuming they don't fall apart at the end, but they're still playing well. It was just the Chicago Bears, but let's see, Arizona's going to finish up their schedule with the Rams, so that's going to be a big game next week against the Rams. So we'll see what happens there. That's going to have a lot of playoff implications. The Rams could draw a little closer by giving the Cardinals another loss. They're only 2 games behind, I believe, so that would put them 1 game behind and get them closer. Then they wrap up with the Lions, Colts, the Cowboys, and the Seahawks. The Seahawks struggling. The Colts are in playoff contention, and the Cowboys, of course, lead the East. So they have a pretty decently tough schedule, save the Lions. The Lions game, I mean, the Lions did win today, but their schedule is fairly tough to close out the year. So we'll see what happens with the Cardinals. All right, let us know what you think. Let us know what your team is. You root for your team, let us know. We appreciate you. Call in if you want to call in and talk a little football, NFL, 726-999-0241. We appreciate you. Appreciate all our new Facebook members. 226 members on the Facebook group. All right. Yeah. Appreciate all those Facebook members. All right, so let's look at another game within the division. Well, we can talk a little bit about Minnesota, Detroit. That's one of the ones I got wrong. I've been pretty good. I think I'm still doing well. in my picks. But this one, I was back and forth actually about this one because I've picked Detroit here and there, and one of the ones they tied with the Steelers. When I picked, I thought maybe they could pull that one off. I think I'm trying to remember if I picked, but anyway, I've picked them once or twice to break that, and this time I think I just gave up on them. I gave up on them to win a game. So yeah, so I picked the Minnesota Vikings, I think, to win that game because I figured Minnesota, they need to make the playoffs. They need to win this game, and they end up go out there and lose it. So, what, did Kirk Cousins have a bad game? I mean, he had an okay game. I don't know what happened in that game, but who played quarterback there? Jared Goff had a decent game. He had one pick, three touchdowns. Kirk Cousins didn't have a terrible game. I mean, usually when the Minnesota loses these games, Kirk throws a pick or two, but no, he didn't throw any interceptions. 340 yards, only, and 2 touchdowns. So, I mean, I guess they just outplayed them there at the end. So that's what it looks like. But it was a close game. But shout out to the Detroit Lions, no longer winless. The Detroit Lions saved themselves from becoming winless. The last winless team in the NFL. All right, let's look at let's see here. Let's look at the Los Angeles Chargers. Drew, shout out to Drew, my Chargers fan. They won 41-22. 41-22. Man, the Bengals, I don't know what to think about the Bengals. They're so up and down. Oh, my gosh. The Bengals are, I mean, they're probably going to make the playoffs. I don't know. It's just the Bengals got me confused. They're so confusing. They go out and lose to the Packers in a close game in overtime, 22-25. Then they go back and beat the Lions, and which everyone was beating the Lions at that point, right? And then they go and just beat up the Ravens 41. I think that's the Ravens' worst loss this season, 41-17. And then they go back and lose to the Jets. Oh my God, what is going on? And then they go and lose to the Browns, like terrible, 16-41. They get blown out by the Browns. And then the Raiders, they pretty much blow out the Raiders 32-13. Then they blow out the Steelers 41-10. And then they basically get blown out by the Chargers today 22-41. I know the game was close into the fourth quarter. But man, the Bengals are just Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I mean, it's crazy. So I don't know. I don't know what's up with Bengals. It's crazy. But yeah, I don't know what to think about the Bengals. I don't know. They got the 49ers next week, and then the Broncos, Ravens, and Chiefs, and then Browns. So a lot of big games for them. Not easy games for the Bengals. So I guess this will kind of test them. The 49ers are kind of up and down too. I mean, they're trying to make the playoffs, so that's gonna be a tough game. The Broncos, if they win today, they'll be trying to make the playoffs. The Chiefs against the Broncos playing in Kansas City just kicked off. If most of you are watching that game, so let us know what you think. Who's gonna win that game? Chiefs and the Broncos tonight on Sunday Night Football. All right. So let us know what you think about that game. But I don't know what the Bengals think. Let me know what you think about the Bengals. I mean, they're just, I don't even know what to think about them anymore. But the Chargers come back. They're a little up and down as well. But, I mean, they beat the Bengals. They lost last week to the Broncos. Then the week before, they beat the Steelers. The week before, they lose to the Vikings. Then they beat the week before. Then they lost to the Patriots, lost to the Ravens. This is going backwards for them. So, yeah, it's crazy. The Chargers are a little up and down as well, but they started out really hot. I mean, they were doing really well. I think they were like 4-1. Then they were 4-2. Then they were 4-3, and then they won a game. They lost a game, won a game, lost a game. So, if that pattern holds up, they should lose to the Giants next week, right? I mean, I don't know what to think about it. The Chargers. My bro Drew out there, shout out to him. Hey, you guys won. So, hey, shout out to you guys for winning today. The Chargers come back. I'm going to assume, the Chargers finish out with the Giants, Chiefs, Texans. If you saw our post on the Let's Flow and Canteen sports page or sports show Facebook page, the Texans were the first team officially eliminated. I guess the Detroit Lions were not. I guess they're technically still mathematically alive, I guess. But anyway, so the Texans were the first team eliminated today after losing. So I mean, the Chargers don't have a super tough schedule. They got the Chiefs here in a couple weeks, the Texans, which, I mean, should be a W. Then they got the Broncos, depending on how the Broncos are doing at that point. They could be in playoff contention depending on if they win the next few games. They got to win 2 or 3 games for the Broncos. Then we got the Raiders, and they viable as well. So they finish out the last 4 games are pretty tough, except for the Texans. They're all division games, what it looks like. So I don't know. That's what you think about the Chargers. Shout out, they won that game today. They needed that game big time. Then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers pretty much blow out a little bit the Atlanta Falcons. Sorry about that, Canteen. I know he was saying 2 touchdowns. He's had a rough weekend. The Georgia Bugs lost as well. Yeah. 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 Georgia lost Saturday. But I feel bad for them. And then Atlanta loses again. None of these teams are eliminated, apparently, mathematically. So it looks like the Denver went 3 and out or something similar. They're already punting the ball. So the Chiefs will take over if you're watching the game. All right. So, yeah, so I don't know. Atlanta, yeah, I mean, to me, they're pretty much done. I was holding hope for Canteen. For his sake, he's my partner. I hold out hope for him, just I feel bad. But, I mean, they got the Panthers. I mean, they could win that game, and then they got the 49ers. Technically, they're still alive, but they have to me, they have to win out. Falcons have to win out. I mean, they could lose to the Bills, technically, since that is it's not in their division. It's not in their division. Excuse me. So, yeah, to me, the Falcons, to even have a chance, an outside chance, they have to either win out or only lose to the Bills on January 2nd. So, yeah, shout out. Hopefully, the Falcons can pull it out. The Bucs doing what they're supposed to do. They beat up on the Falcons. The Bucs schedule, it looks like they play the Bills. That'll be a big game. They play the Saints, Panthers, Jets, Panthers. So they don't really have a tough end of their schedule. The Panthers may be out of it by then, by the time they play them in 3 weeks. The Bills is their toughest game. That'll be a good meter for the Bills to see where they're at when they play the Bucs. They're playing in Buffalo, so we'll see what happens there. That'll be a big game next week between the Bucs and the Bills. See who wins that game. Then the Saints might be eliminated at that point. I don't know. They really don't have a quarterback. They have a lot of injuries, so I don't see the Saints doing anything. So to finish out the season, I think after the Bills, the Bucs pretty much could win out after the Bills game. I would hope they would lose that game just for our sake, for the Cowboys' sake. But anyway, all right. So let's go on to see, Indianapolis wins there. I'm not going to talk too much about Indy. They pretty much blow out the Houston Texans 31-0. They're still in playoff contention. Shout out to Tim Brown for liking the video. I appreciate you. Share it in your Facebook if you can. Give us a call if you want to call in. There's a call-in number, so we have both. You can come in live at some point. I do have the link somewhere. I can send it out on the chat or whatever if you still need it. But we have the call-in line because a lot of people don't want to come in live and get on a screen and be on video and all that good stuff. And there's people would rather call in. So, but there's the line 726-999-0241 if you want to call in. So we're just wrapping up the day for the NFL. Canteen might be here. He said he'd be here at 8:30 Eastern time, so I got a minute or two. Maybe he's home by now. We'll see. Another big game for the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, it is the Jets, right? I mean, I wouldn't anticipate they were going to do very well. I mean, they should have won that game. But a late change was that Hurts was out. Jalen Hurts was out, and Gardner Minshew would start. I mean, I picked the Eagles to win this game, and when I found out Minshew was starting, I was like, oh no. Hopefully, I still get my pick right because I hate being wrong, right? Right. Anyway, I hate being wrong, and so I was like, man, that's not fair. But Taylor Minshew went out and balled out for him, 20 of 25, 242 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Whoa! I mean, no turnovers, and the Philadelphia still had a decent, on the ground. They were 185 yards on the ground. Miles Sanders had 120 yards by himself. I mean, so they played really well. Goddard had 100 yards. Their tight end, Dallas Goddard, had 100 yards. I mean, that was a big game for him. 2 touchdowns for him. So shout out to Taylor Minshew, who did well. I mean, it's just the Jets, right? But, I mean, to have it come in and start last minute, probably didn't know he was starting until the day of or till today. So shout out to him. I don't know if you've seen it online. There's a video of him, with his dad. He's kind of celebrating with his dad. Shout out to them. I mean, I'm not an Eagles fan, but shout out to Gardner Minshew, who probably wasn't planning on starting, but played well, won the game. I mean, he's pretty excited. He was pretty excited, hugging his dad and being excited. So shout out to Gardner Minshew for playing well, even though it was the Eagles, right? All right, and then another playoff implications is the Washington football team, Les's team, against the Raiders. Tight game. I mean, football really is a game of inches. This game and the other game that I talked about, Pittsburgh, and we'll talk about in a minute, Baltimore at Pittsburgh. But these 2 games, I watched both of them. They were on where I'm at. They were the 2 games that were on. And, man, it's a game of inches. I mean, Washington football team, shout out. I really love Ron Rivera. I don't like the Washington football team, obviously, because I'm a Cowboy fan. But Ron Rivera, I have respect for him. So shout out to him, turning around the season for the Washington football team. The best thing about the Washington football team winning is that I picked them to finish second in the East, so it makes me right. So that's the only thing good about Washington football team winning that game. I think I picked the Raiders. I'm trying to see. Let me see. Did I pick? I think I picked the Raiders, I believe. So, I think part of that was just that I wanted them to lose, But let me see. Yeah, I picked the Raiders to win by 4, and it was close. I mean, the Raiders went down and scored at the end, and then, Washington football team got close. Shout out to, is it Taylor? What was his name? Is it Taylor Heineke? I think that's his name, Taylor or Tyler. Taylor Heineke. He played a good game, 195 yards. He did have an interception and 2 touchdowns, but he led them down the field for, I think it was a 48-yarder. I mean, if you look at that game, if anybody else saw that game, I mean, that thing looked like it was going to go off to the right, Well, for you guys looking at me, it's probably this way, but it looked like it was going to go veer off to the right, and it just went in the uprights. And, man, I was so hoping it would miss so I could be right in the way. And so it was Washington, so. But, yeah, oh, man, that was such a close game. But, football is a game of inches. I think, was it the Steelers? Yeah, the last game, the Steelers, but the next game we want to talk about. But, yeah, so this has playoff implications. Let me know what you think. Who's actually going to make the playoffs? The Raiders or the Washington football team? Let us know in the comments. Call in if you want to call in, talk a little NFL, talk about your team. Let us know who you think on all these games, what you thought of these games. If you saw any of these games, let us know in the comments what you guys think. Like, share, and do all that good stuff. You want to go over to YouTube. We're on YouTube as well. We're on under my name under Twitter. We're also on Bleecker TV and Twitch. We don't get a lot of views over there, but shout out to them. Hey, if you're watching over on Bleecker TV and Twitch and on Twitter, I don't even think I get anybody to see those videos. But, hey, maybe someday. You never know. All right. So, yeah, I mean, this keeps the Washington football team alive in the East. I mean, and then people, just real quick, I put this on the Facebook, on our Let's Flo Canteen Sports Show Facebook page. And there was you could see, everybody talks about NFC least, and it doesn't look any different from all the other divisions in the NFC. I mean, all the other teams besides the top teams, the Cardinals, the Bucks, and the Packers, the rest of their divisions look just like us. I mean, it's not that much better. I think the next best is the NFC West with the Rams 8-4, and the 49ers are 6-6 now. They lost to the Seahawks. But, I mean, the Washington football team is 6-6, the Washington football team, and the Eagles are 6-7. I mean, the Giants are down there 4-8, but everybody's got, that bottom tier, that bottom team in their division. But number 2 and 3, they're just as good or better than everybody else in the NFC East. So, hey, shout out to the NFC East. We are not the NFC least. We are not. All right. But, I mean, that's what they call it. People make fun of it. I see it on TV. You've seen it. You've seen people talk about NFC least. Our Bronco lover, he's about the NFC least. But to me, we are right there with everybody else, as far as the division. except for maybe the NFC West, which has got the Rams, who are 8-4. Other than that, I mean, we're better than all the other divisions right now. So anyway, I just wanted to put that in there for the shout out for the NFC East. So another game I want to talk about, the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Wow, what a game. If you guys saw that game, shout out to the Ravens and the Steelers. They played a great, I mean, not a great game per se. I mean, the defense has played well. The offense has struggled from time to time. But, I mean, as far as end of the game, I mean, Ben Roethlisberger led them on a drive. And like I said, a game of inches. I mean, he threw that touchdown. It was either the touchdown or the two-point conversion. I can't remember, but he threw it. I think it was a two-point conversion. He threw it. A guy reached his hand, and he almost batted it down. And the guy catches it. They made the two-point conversion. The Steelers go up by 7. They needed that two-point conversion to go up by 7. Otherwise, the Ravens could have won it with a touchdown. And then the Ravens go down the field. I mean, Lamar Jackson, to be honest, was not playing well. He was not playing well. I mean, he was struggling the whole game. They were getting to him. He ended up with 253 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and he had 55 yards rushing. He was the leading rusher from again. But, I mean, he went down and drove down the field. I was like, oh, no, the Ravens. Because, I picked the Steelers, so I want to be right? So he's driving down the field. These games are more exciting when you pick and you want to be right. I mean, that's how I see it. I mean, you pick the games and you're like, I want to be right. Just, something fun just to make them interesting. But I picked the Steelers to win this game, I think by 3 or 4. I picked a close game, I believe. I can't remember. But I did pick the Steelers. And they're driving down the field. I'm like, the Ravens are done. And they get a couple of big plays. I'm like, whoa, come on, Steelers. And then they score a touchdown. I'm like, oh, my gosh, this is going to go to overtime. I can't believe it. I'm like, oh, man, it's going to go to overtime. And the Ravens are going to pull out another overtime win. Shout out to Jay Glad and the Ravens fan, if he's out there. Shout out to him, man. The Ravens, I mean, they're just like heart attack. I mean, if I was a Ravens fan, I'd be having a heart attack. I mean, they're always like down to the wire, overtime games, except for a couple of, I think the Bengals game they got blown out game, and the Dolphins game that they blew out. They lost to the Dolphins. Ravens are, man, and they blew out the Chargers as well in one game. They got blown out and blew out. So those two games, other than those two games, really, I mean, it's just like the Baltimore Ravens fans, man. I feel for them. Oh, man. But then they go for 2. Let us know what you think, Ravens fans. Did you agree with Harbaugh going for 2 points there? Or if you're just watching the game, do you think he should have gone for 2 there? I mean, that was pretty gutsy call to go for 2. I'm going to turn on the chat overlay in case there's some the chat is on, so I can see some of your comments. But hold on, there we go. Sorry. Shout out to John Harbaugh for going for 2. Let us know what you think. Should he have gone for 2? Gone for the win at home, on the road? I mean, part of me agrees. Part of me agrees with it. And back to the game of inches, right? Back to the football or NFL or football in general. Okay, so it looks like Casey scored a touchdown. I didn't get to see it. Casey scored a touchdown, up 7-0 on Denver if you're watching the game. But anyway, so they go for 2, and I'm just like, why are you going for 2? Get the tie. But, I mean, they're going for the win. I mean, that was a gutsy call. Let us know what you think in the chat, in the comments. Let us know if you agree with going for 2 there, going for the win. I mean, that was a gutsy call to go for it. And to be honest, it almost worked. I mean, he throws it, and the guy almost bats it down too. I don't know who it was. I think it was Watt. I don't know who it was. Was it the what's his name? The brother? I forget. I get it confused because there's a lot of brothers in the NFL. There, T.J. Watt. I think it might have been T.J. Watt. It was somebody coming up on him, and he kind of sidearms it slightly, and it goes around, just kind of avoids the guy's hand, and then I think it was the tight end. I don't know. I think he was throwing it to the tight end. Was it the tight end? Anyway, he gets it and he grabs it with one hand and he almost has it, and it would have been the winning 2-point conversion. I'm just like, oh man, what a game! If I was like a fan of either one of these teams, I'd be like, oh man, it'd be like, man, I'd be going crazy. I mean, I was going crazy just because I wanted the Steelers to win and I wanted to be right, So, but Oh, man, what a game. I mean, the end of that game was amazing. It was a pretty good game. If you're a football fan, that was a pretty good game. But the Steelers really needed to win this game. Let's look at the Steelers' schedule. They play the Vikings, the Titans, Chiefs, Browns, and the Ravens. I mean, the Steelers have a tough schedule. They needed this game big because the Vikings, I mean, they lost today, but they're a pretty decent team. They play everybody close. So that will not be an easy victory. They're playing at Minnesota, and the Vikings are vying for a playoff spot. Oh, almost got picked. Almost a pick there by the Chiefs. And then they play the Titans, the Chiefs, the Browns, and the Ravens. So, I mean, the Steelers, to be honest, they have a tough schedule to finish out the year. The Titans, I mean, I don't know if they maybe I don't know when they get back Derrick Henry. Let me see. I don't know. Let us know if you're a Titans fan. They're still technically in first place in the AFC South, and they're going to probably make the playoffs. So that's not an easy game necessarily. They have a pretty good defense. So for the Steelers, they finish out the year with a pretty difficult schedule. To be honest, a pretty difficult schedule for them. Vikings, Titans, and they play the Chiefs, who've been playing well as of late and are trying to make a playoff run in December. Then they play the Browns, who've been up and down. I mean, they've kind of been like the Bengals a little bit. They'll win a game that they aren't supposed to and lose a game, and they'll play people close. And then they finish out against the Ravens at the end of the year. And that, I mean, who knows? That might be for the division, depending on how the Ravens do to finish out the year. But that'll be a big game at Baltimore for the Steelers. That might be just for the Steelers to playoffs, and maybe not for the division, but for the Steelers to make the playoffs. And then the Ravens' schedule, let's look at their schedule. They play the Browns, which won't be an easy game. It should be competitive, but the Browns are, been struggling late. Then they play the Packers. That'll be a big game to see how, where the Packers are as opposed to one of the top teams considered in the AFC West. I mean, in the AFC, I don't know if they're the West, but North. They're in the North. But anyway, so they finish out with the Browns, Packers, Bengals, who you already talked about them. They're up and down. Sometimes they're great. Sometimes they're like a little loopy, right? And then they play the Rams and like we talked about, and then the Steelers. So the Ravens do not have an easy schedule going into the end of the year or the last 6 games of the season. So let us know what you think about the Ravens and Steelers game. I mean, I watched the game. It was a tough, hard-fought game. A lot of mistakes here and there. Defenses played well, but at the end, they drove. Lamar Jackson was able to drive down the field and almost win the game for them. Wow. All right, no one's calling in. No one's jumping in. We thank you for watching this. I don't know if Canteen's going to be able to jump in. We'll see what happens. Let me close that out because I can't see. All right, let me see here. Appreciate y'all watching. Like, share, subscribe, comment, do all that good stuff. I appreciate you guys watching and jumping in. I'm going to go ahead and put in my outro. I think you guys can see me. I might be frozen. I'm going to put my out video. You should see it if you haven't seen it. It's pretty cool. It's a short one, because shout out to Drew, the Chargers fan, telling me I needed an outro instead of playing video for the outro. But anyway, so that's all we have for today. Let us know what you think about this game going on right now. I picked the Chiefs to win this game. And then tomorrow night is Monday Night Football in New England and Buffalo. That will be a big game. That'll have major playoff implications. That's a divisional game. That'll probably be to be in first place or try and get control of first place. I think I picked Buffalo in that one. And then I picked, today's game I picked KC to beat the Broncos by 10 points. That's what I picked. Hopefully I am correct in that assessment. Let us know what you think. Who's going to win tonight's game? The KC is up 7-0. It's still a close game, and it's not like KC's blowing them out right now. KC has the ball again. If they score here, Broncos may be in trouble. My analysis on Saturday, if you watch the game, is that the Broncos need to go in up at the halftime. If the Broncos are down at halftime, I think this game is over. I don't think they can come back in the second half. The Broncos need to be up, even if they're only up, 10-7 or 14-10 or something. They got to be up going into the second half, because I think they kicked off, or the Chiefs kicked off, so the Chiefs get the ball in the second half. So they have to be up going into the halftime if they want to win the game. That's what I think. I have the Chiefs winning this game by 10 points. Let us know what you think in the comments. We appreciate you. Like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Hey, I'm here giving you the rundown. We appreciate you. Talk a little bit. Let's talk about, since we talked about it, talk a little bit about the final, the college football playoffs. Shout out to everybody who made the playoffs in the college football playoffs. Let me get this. So the Final Four is, and I disagree a little bit with this, but let us know what you think about the Final Four in the college football rankings. Alabama number 1, Michigan number 2, Georgia number 3, and Cincinnati number 4. Shout out to Cincinnati, who made the playoffs for the first time, I think. But last year I think they lost once. They were close and they lost a game, and they pretty much put them out. They did what they were supposed to. They won all their games. So shout out to Cincinnati Bearcats. I love the colors, red and black. I'm a Red Raider, so I love, the red and black. I think they use white too, red, black, and white. But anyway, shout out to Cincinnati for winning, or for getting into the playoffs. So let us know what you think. Alabama's going to play Cincinnati, and Michigan will play Georgia. My opinion, I think that Michigan should have been number 1, Alabama 2, Georgia 3, and the Bearcats. They said on that who plays who doesn't really play into the rankings. I kind of doubt it. I don't think they wanted to see Alabama, Georgia again right away, right after they just played each other for the conference championship. They say it doesn't play. I mean, I think they have to say that. That's just my opinion. I think they should have. They only moved Alabama up because they didn't want to see Georgia and Alabama play again in the first round of the college football rankings. I think Michigan deserves to be number 1, and Alabama should be number 2, and then Georgia number 3, and Cincinnati number 4. That's how I saw it, but this is how you're going to put it. I see Alabama beating Cincinnati. I think it'll be a closer game than most people think. I think the Bearcats have played really well. They've been consistent. A weaker schedule, for sure. Not that much weaker, but a weaker schedule nonetheless, especially in the championship game. I know Houston had a good season, but they're not a powerhouse necessarily. They played well. I mean, we beat them. Texas Tech beat them. We had a mediocre season, but we beat Houston. So, maybe we just played a little better, played over our heads on that one. But Michigan and Georgia, man, I told Canteen, Georgia. Canteen is a Georgia fan. I told him that you want to play Alabama again. I think you'd have a better chance with that rematch against Alabama. I just feel like they would have a better chance than winning this against Michigan. I think Michigan is playing well. I see Michigan and Alabama winning, and then playing in the championship game. And then after that, I'll have to reassess. I kind of favor Michigan a little bit, that they'll win. I think it's kind of a destiny thing. I don't know. They're playing really well. They have a great running game. They have a decent quarterback. They have put it all together at the end of the season. They did have that one hiccup with Michigan State. I think they've learned from that mistake. They played a little too conservative in that game. Let them come back and get back in the game. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. But let us know what you think. Excuse me. And about the college football rankings. That's it. That's all I got, guys. No calls and no one coming in the chat. But we appreciate you watching. Appreciate everybody out there watching it on the repeat. The Dallas Cowboys won their game on Thursday, and I'm still celebrating. Dallas Cowboys winning. Yes, I am. All right. So that'll do it for us. You got the new outro for you guys. I'm going to play my song again for the Cowboys victory. Let me just put it up right here. Start it up. And as we leave, we thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for commenting and liking all that good stuff. And yes, the Cowboys did win on Thursday against the New Orleans Saints. Great game. I still question the offense a little bit. I think we should run the ball a little more. Kellen Moore, come up with some more running plays. Let Dak run it a little bit. I know you don't want to get him hurt, but he needs to run it a little bit. That's my opinion. You need to run the ball more. Every time we run more than we pass, we win. But I'm still happy that we won that game. This is our victory song for the Dallas Cowboys winning that football game. we'll see you next time. I think we're going to do a Sex Saturday. We'll have our live show. We talk about different sports. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. I'm going to shut this down. I'll let it play out. It's got 10 seconds. Yeah, thank you so much. That's the Cowboys victory song. Yeah, all right. And we'll see you next time. This is a new outro. Go hard or go home. This is kind of our calling theme song sometimes. But let me know what you think. It's just a short little outro. We appreciate it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Let's Flo Canteen NFL special. Yeah. See you next time.
Go hard or go home. Go home. Go hard. Go hard. Or go home. Go home. Go hard. Go hard. Or go home. Go home. Go hard. Go hard. Or go home. Touchdown like the end zone. When the circle turn to my home, can't get me out of my zone. Go hard. Go hard. Or go home. Or go home. Go hard. Go go go. Or go home. Yeah, these championship rings on my hands now. In my head I'm top 10, yeah, that's hands down. You a squad, now you're looking man down. Funny how foes turn to friends now. Drive a race car like a Atari now. Caught filling up, I need product again. Treat the business like where I might slide on you. Do a backflip cause I'm mad rich. I'm the definition of what that is. Go hard, or go home. 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 Touchdown like the end zone. When the circle turn to my home, can't get me out of my zone. Go hard, or go home. Go hard, or go home. I'm a warrior, I go back to back, then go back to back. If I top the top, then a double back, and I'm topping that. Yeah, I beat my own records. Yeah, I gotta get money fetish. Same team, I don't set trip. Never dull, this electric. Went and put the Ricks on my toes. Me and bro, that's the give and go. Stay 100, end zone. Keep them coming. I know. I won't flood my wrist, no, I'm not dumb like that. No. I just wanna give my mama 100 racks. Go hard, or go home. Go hard, or go home.